Welcome back, guys, to another B match. And after a small break from War Thunder because of real life stuff, I'm back. And with the P-40F, the new P-40 variant that got introduced in the last patch. And yeah, it's a nice looking plane. It looks more streamlined than the normal P-40 and a lot more dangerous. And it has a license-built Merlin engine, so that all sounds great. So from the start, at stock condition, I have to say I was pretty disappointed with its performance, because the climb rate is not very good. Struggled to get to 2,900 meters here, and yeah, the bombers are way above me. With something like a BF-109, I would be at 4 kilometers already, and I also even fully spaded. In the initial climb is a lot better with the normal P-40 variant. The P-40 E with the Allison engine has more raw engine power at low altitude. This variant with the license-built Merlin has a lower engine power, but holds the engine power better at high altitude. And we're turning in on this SM-79. Shoot from wrong range, and typically Italian bomber doesn't really hold out under heavy fire and breaks apart. As you can see, the acceleration at this altitude in stock condition isn't that good. But from what I have seen, when you upgrade it, it gets better at high altitude at least, and or well, not even high, also at mid altitude ranges above 2,000 meters. And luckily, all the Axis fighters decided to lose all their high altitude advantage that they had and go down and hunt the Spitfires. I don't know why, I don't get it, because we had enough planes up at altitude that would have made up for a great target. Yeah. And here we see the big problem of the P-40, the E and the F variant. The rudder is just not working at high speeds. The moment you get about 530 or something, you are just not able to bring the guns on target. The lower the speed gets, the better your maneuverability becomes. So in this range, below 500 and above 350, this plane maneuvers very well, but because of the relatively weak engine, if you perform a loop at below 400 kilometers an hour or something, then you lose all speed, and yeah, you are just a sitting duck. And here at low altitude, I think you can see that this plane just doesn't accelerate at all. It's, or at least very slowly. One thing I noticed is that this plane, I got up-tiered all the time. It seems like after the initial hype around this plane, yeah, I needed to face P-40F-4s and yeah, Corsairs in my team and Spitfires. So you often get up to 3.7. That's what I definitely noticed. So that's enough for this match, and I will skip to a match with where I had slightly more modules installed. And I'm back in another battle. It's a night battle, and this time with, well, half of the modules installed. I think I got up to the engine module, and yeah, it's a bit better now. And yeah, we get a bit surprised by this HE111 here, and we wait the fire from the wet gunners. At low speeds, as you can see, it turns very slowly, and especially if you don't want to lose even more speed. But at least, yeah, it's not the worst. The P-36 damaged the HE111 on the wing. I light him on fire. And unnecessarily, the P-38E comes along and steals the kill from both of us. So now the P-38 has just lost speed and altitude for nothing, and this will bite us bite us back very, very soon. We have some enemies down low, and the BF-1010, the new G variant. I just can't get the nose up in time because of the low speed that I was already at. You really have an acceleration problem with this plane. And I don't know what this 110 was thinking. He made a perfect target. Maybe he was hoping for his friend that was coming along now with the MC205. And the 109 is coming along as well, 109F. First I thought, well, maybe I can turn it around in time, but no, I can't. And now the only thing I can do is dive way into the clouds. Luckily, the two fighters are not following me, and so I'm gonna glide back to base with a broken engine. And after some minutes of gliding, I'm back at the runway. The situation could be better, definitely, because they have at least 2 fighters at altitude, 1 bomber, and I think this is an attacker. He was flying a 1 JO-87, but he will crash. So I'm gonna skip forward again until I'm back in the air. And I'm back in the air. The P-51 of our team got shot down. So it's 2 against 2 fighters, and 2 from us and 2 fighters from them. Luckily, I don't know what that guy was thinking, but I think he was searching for us. He's down low. Earlier on, he was at above the clouds, so that's very good. And luckily, because of the P-63 that spotted him, I know where he is. The only problem is now, where is the MC205? Because if that guy is still up at altitude and I dive in and he spots me, yeah, he can easily pick us apart, me and the P-63. and I'm diving in on the 109 because I see that it has some problems, and the MC205 appears. Knocks out the P63. I knock him out. Then I decide to make a loop, which, yeah, this plane isn't very good at. As you can see, the loss of speed, and I knock him out. So, as you can see, with diving in, one turn, one loop, and another turn, and I'm below 300 kilometers an hour, and I started off at way higher speed than this, and a lot more altitude. So it is not a very efficient fighter, I have to say, because of the lack of engine power. This plane, especially at low altitude, if you perform maneuvers, you lose everything that you gained very, very quickly. Overall, it's still a very good plane, because it has traits that you can work around. Because the armament is great at this at 2.7 with 6 12.7mm machine guns, and also this high altitude performance isn't bad. Let's put it that way. It's not exactly very, very good, but it's also not bad. And because I don't want to hunt around for the bomber for the next 10 minutes, I decided to, in this match, use a blind hunt order, which can be very useful in realistic battles to bring a match to a close. First I thought, is the HE Trooper 1 flying away again? But then he decides otherwise. Maybe he was, well, thinking about returning to the safe zone of the AAA, but apparently he didn't want to do that. And I fly in high above him, so I can get the good enough attack angle. I try to evade his gunners. First shots are pretty bad, but then I get the shots on target and rip apart the tail of the plane. The new damage model is pretty nice. I really have to say that, because the bombers just have more parts that you can actually damage, and so you can more easily kill them. So that's it, enough for this match, and I will quickly show you a match where it has all the performance modules installed, so you can compare the performance difference. And here we are in another match with all performance modules installed. And as you can see, it at the same climbing angle, around 15 degrees. It is around 20 kilometers an hour faster than it is when you have nearly no modules installed. So that's definitely better, and it also accelerates and holds the speed better at higher altitude, and at low altitude it is not that bad anymore. But do note that the E variant is way better at altitudes around 1000, 3000 meters, and only above that. This variant definitely is better than the variant that we already had in the game. I will also show you this match because in the other matches the Axis fighters didn't really play around the strengths, the altitude advantage and so on. And yeah, also my team, especially in the first battle, did a bit better than in this one. Most of the team is climbing, but the moment they see someone down low, they just all drop down. And also the enemies definitely use their planes how they should be used. Our A20s are down low, and I'm now approaching the 4,000 meter mark. In the matches before that, I never got up that high, so you can definitely see that this plane is better. And with the E variant, I would already lose pretty much all of my performance at this altitude. That's not the case with this licensed build Packard Merlin. But yeah, this 109 up there has all the advantages. He has, from the left, there are 110s approaching. So my only option here is to go for the other guy, the slower, and that's the E variant. Well, I think it's an E4. Yeah, he attacked me, and the only way I could evade this without losing all my altitude was to turn into him. Then I thought, will he come down again? But no, he's not coming down again. So I dive even more. They are all following me now. This 109F is trying to run away, but I knock him out while he's trying to run. And now the horde is coming. Ooh, 109 is coming in again on me. I'm trying to evade. And he turns away. So here you can see that it is an altitude the performance of this variant, the P-40F, is better at high altitude, but still not good enough against 109s and MC205s, especially if you get up-tiered all the time. And I knock out this, well, very slow 190 here. At this point I already knew that I was doomed, because the enemy was high and we had only planes at low altitude. Using the combat flaps here as well to tighten the turn. So you can see you can get the guns on target quite well against the Germans, but yeah, the moment you get down low in this situation, it's over. Yeah, my team didn't really try, or didn't really do that well, but also the enemy team did very well because they went all up high. So I hope these 3 games gave you a bit of an overview what this plane can do and what it cannot do. It cannot completely counter the 109s. That's just not possible. But the thing that sets this apart from the P-40E is that it can get up to high altitude and don't be completely useless at it. So if you are not alone at high altitude, you can actually fight some planes up there, and you can hunt down some bombers at 4 or 5 kilometers. But do note that this stat card doesn't really tell you the truth. It says that this plane is much faster than this variant. Yeah, but in what situation? In how often do you get at up to 5,000 meters in a P-40? I don't think that this will happen quite often. And in the lower altitude sections that you're more often be fighting, this variant is definitely the better choice. It accelerates better, it is faster, it climbs also faster, even though the stat card is wrong here and it says it climbs worse, but that's not really the case. Just take a look at the engine power that they are stating, and this will probably give you an indication of what the problem here. The maximum takeoff power, so the power with WEP, with the wall emergency power, is nearly 1500 horsepower. And with this one, yeah, you definitely have a lower engine power than this. Only slightly, but yeah, it has an effect. And also the maximum standard power is also lower on the Merlin variant. So this is a bit a surprise to me, because when I started playing this, I thought, well, this plane would probably better in every respect than the P-40E, and I thought, because I only looked at the stat card for a start, didn't really take any closer look into it, I thought that this variant would be all around better, but that is not the case. That is definitely not the case. This plane is only better in certain situations. 2.5 kilometers up. I think at 2.5 kilometers or something, the planes even out on with the performance. And the higher you get, this variant gets increasingly better, and the higher you get, the P-40E gets worse. But in the normal maneuverability sections, they are pretty much similar. They have the same drawback with the rudder at high speeds, and yeah, the lock-up speeds are pretty much the same. So the real only difference between those two planes is the altitude performance and the engine setting that these planes have. But overall, P-40, very capable plane. Even in the up tiers, I only died once in the matches I played, and killed 10 planes in those 3 matches. So I think it is a competitive plane, but if you probably not as competitive as something like an 109E4 or 109F4. At least if you want to fight exact fighters, because I think against bombers with this 12.7mm armament it is still a very good plane. So that's it for this video and this plane for now, and see ya.